Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. It's our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Tuesday night, 25th of February, 2025. Okay. Topic inside our room is I'll be breaking down Daniel 9:25 with some more information because I think it's necessary. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine the content, and rightly divide it, get the meat out. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Okay, this is a non-basic Israelite channel. Okay, for those that don't know, and this is we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, which is given to Moses by our Redeemer and our Savior, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study night. Okay, we're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence. Keep this. Okay. A moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We have the current events, need to know information. We open it up for some questions and comments. Anybody have any comments, dialogue? Then we go into our topic, which is I mentioned earlier, we'll be dealing with Daniel 9:25. I think I can put a lot of clarity on it, but to put as much more clarity on it as possible, because it seems to me it's firmating and registering with a lot of people. So just want to keep adding salt to it. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, so with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay, oh Lord, we come before Thee at this time, thanking You for Your mercy and Your great power. And we appreciate You, oh Lord, for Your patience and guidance in these last days, oh Lord. And we thank You for Your awakening of us to this great understanding. And we come before You that You keep, direct, and guide us through the upcoming week. Oh Lord, we see Your mighty hand in the world's affairs, and how You're constructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon You. And for this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, O Lord, but allow us in our searching of You these last days to find You and to dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay, so we'll read the Psalms. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Okay, read Psalms 70. It's a prayer for deliverance. It says, to the chief musician, a song of David, to bring to remembrance. Make haste, O God, to deliver me. Make haste to help me, O Lord. Let them be ashamed and confounded that seek after my soul, and let them be turned backwards and put to confusion that desire my heart. Let them be turned back for a reward of their shame that say, aha, and let all those that seek Thee rejoice and be glad in Thee, and let such as love Thy salvation say continuously, let the Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy. Make haste unto me, O God, thou art my help and my deliverer, O Lord, and make no tarrying. So that was Psalm 70. Okay. And notice that it says it's a Psalm of David. Okay. So like I was saying, when you understand that David is the Messiah, or these songs take on a whole other meaning, because David is talking about himself. You ain't got no recollection, there's no son in the bosom of that, he's talking about himself and his relationship with the Lord of hosts and the Creator. Any comments? Okay. We'll go to some current events, and then we'll play them, and then we'll break them down as we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So we are going to continue with our coverage of the United States being taken over. Every aspect of the United States seems to be taken over at this point, and a lot of people are losing patience, they're losing faith, and a lot of those lifetime Trumpers, they have changed their tune. Now, before getting into this topic, I want you to go ahead and share this video. If you like our content, like the video. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy the truth, subscribe to the channel. Of course, leave your comments. Anyways, we are going to get into this topic. It looks like Donald Trump wants to take over the United States Post Office now. Or should I say the United States Postal Service? And guess what? He wants to privatize it. So right now, postal workers are protesting all over the country. Many protests are erupting nationwide because the people, they are fed up with what this administration is doing to this country. Now, this is what this country voted for, so what you got. We have to continue to remind you of that. A lot of these people who probably work at the post office probably voted for Donald Trump. So this is what you voted for. Anyway, I want you all to hear the details of what is going over with this, what is going on with this latest takeover. Of course, you know I will be right back.
Takeover and privatization. Trump has expressed interest in taking control of the USPS and placing it under the control of the Commerce Department. This move would involve an executive branch takeover of the agency, which has operated as an independent entity since 1970. Trump has mentioned that this could be a form of a merger, but the USPS would remain the Postal Service. Financial concerns. Trump has cited the USPS's financial struggles as a primary reason for considering these changes. The USPS has faced significant financial losses in recent years, with a reported net loss of billions of dollars. Trump believes that placing the USPS under the Commerce Department could help stop these losses and improve its operations. Impact on services. If the USPS were to be privatized or placed under the Commerce Department, it could lead to changes in services, such as the 6-day delivery schedule and the closure of several post offices. This could result in increased costs for services and delayed shipments of critical goods, particularly affecting rural areas. Political and legal challenges. The proposal to privatize or take over the USPS has faced significant opposition from various stakeholders, including postal workers' unions and some members of Congress. Critics argue that such a move would harm veterans, small business owners, and rural communities. Additionally, there are concerns that the move could potentially violate federal law. While Trump is considering significant changes to the USPS, including the possibility of privatization, these plans are still in the proposal stage and face substantial political and legal challenges. The future of the USPS remains uncertain as these discussions continue.
Okay, so again, Donald Trump wants to put the United States Postal Service into the hands of a private corporation. He wants to privatize it. And so I want you to take a look as protests are breaking out all over the country. People who have served on the Postal Service for many, many years in some cases, they are fighting back. They're like, no, leave our jobs alone. Leave the post office alone. Of course, it needs funds. Of course, there are problems that need to be fixed. But how is privatizing the postal service going to make it better? Now, of course, those diehard Trump supporters believe that putting it into the hands of a private corporation is going to make things better. No, what it's going to do is make your price or your cost go up. That's all it's going to do. So, anyway, take a listen at some of the protests as they are breaking out all over the country.
Local U.S. Postal Service workers rallied in Southeast Portland today against President Trump's proposed changes for the mail service. I'm Lisa Balick, and this is The 10. Today's protest, part of a nationwide rally of postal workers. Our Ariel Salk joins us live from Southeast Portland. Ariel, fill us in. What are they saying? What are they really upset about?
Well, they told me they initially planned this rally to fight for a better contract. But after hearing President Donald Trump Friday about a proposed change to the post office, well, that became their top priority. Dozens of local postal workers.
Call your Congress people, call your state houses, email them.
Rally in Southeast Portland. This after reports that President Donald Trump may take over the Postal Service, which is an independent agency. The Postal Workers Union, the National Association of Letter Carriers, says this could result in privatizing the Postal Service. Privatize.
Okay. Anybody heard anything about that? Any comments on it?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, sir. I heard about it, especially when I guess he's like the CEO of the Postal Service stepped down a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, shalom. Brother Leonard, I can't remember. I thought it was in the 80s that the Congress people started bothering the money for the retirement for the Postal Service. They was a solvent entity as well as Social Security until they start dipping and bothering that money is where we are today.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happened. It started. The post office went down from that point. They started tapping with the money, and it started cutting the funding to the post office. Because I know down here around here, the trucks, so they don't they don't get maintenance or nothing. They run bad. It just don't look right. But I remember when it started. Anybody else?
Shalom, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to say that a lot of the stuff that's going on is all smoke and mirrors. They're gutting out all the programs to the tune of $1.2 trillion they're setting aside for the very rich, the 1%. Okay. That money's coming from Medicaid. It's coming from, they're going to take from the food stamps and from a host of other programs that's going to affect every person in this country in a very bad way. I don't know if you know, but today we nearly collapsed. The stock market went down 1,800 points. If it kept going down and people got nervous and started selling off their stocks, it could have very easily collapsed. Now it's going back up, but it's not stable. So they know that the whole thing will collapse, but they want to make sure they get all the money off the table first before they allow it to collapse, so they can go ahead and restart using a so-called another currency. So that's what I want to add.
Well, right, yeah. They with that they the same scenario I was saying with 2008. They gutted the government, all those bailouts, what number of money they was putting in the coffers for them. Folsom or whatever his name was. Yeah. Yeah, so while I'm thinking about it, I was gonna say that if you go back, I was looking at that. If you go back to when Esau came when the Israelites was in captivity in Egypt, right? And a lot of people don't know it, but it was Esau. Esau came into the land of Israel to fight against the Egyptians, but Israel stood up. And like I said, when you understand these stories, which is what I try to do, is make sure you get the full understanding of each story, because it's going to help you understand the next story or next situation. So the Lord of hosts had promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he was going to make them as numerous as the sand of the sea, right, and as stars in the sky. So while they was in Egypt, that's why they couldn't. They tried to stop them from multiplying, but they couldn't because he had anointing on them. So by the time Esau came to the land of Israel to attack the Israelites, to attack the Egyptians, the Israelites had multiplied. And then when they came in, Israel came out and fighting against them. They fighting against Esau and put them and routed them. And the Egyptians saw that. So they knew right then and there that they had to do something with us. That's why they started afflicting us and subjugating us, which is straight out of Deuteronomy. Straight out of Genesis chapter 15. But my point is this: look at today, what's going on now. Back in when Obama came on the scene, he did 8 years. Then they turned back around, and Biden came on the scene. Kamala Harris, all these people came on the scene. They seen us that we had increased, and so now you see what they're doing. It's just a different time frame and different environment, but they're doing the exact same thing. They taking action. They saw where we was at and where we was getting the power. So they coming back with this. They're just using Trump and Nega as a face, but they doing the same thing the Egyptians did. All of it, killing the children, the boys, and murdering them and everything else. Same thing the Egyptians doing, just different time frame. Comments. Okay. Got another one right here. Let me see. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, he came up with a peace
Zelensky
for
will
the
be
Ukraine
voting,
war.
but I'll tell you who isn't. Russian President Vladimir Putin. When he invaded Ukraine, a lot of experts were shocked. They felt that Putin had miscalculated, that he would end up being stuck in Ukraine. But Putin was playing the long game. He wasn't just betting on his military might, he was betting on the opposition's weakness. And it has paid off. America has lost interest in defending Ukraine, Europe is a house divided, and Zelensky has lost his charm. So as things stand, it is advantage Putin. It looks like the Russian president will have the last laugh. I'll give you 3 reasons why. Number 1, Putin's main war goal has been met. He wanted to stop Ukraine from joining NATO, and Trump has already agreed to it.
For Ukraine. They've been saying that for a long time, that Ukraine cannot go into NATO, and I'm okay with that. I just want the word whether they are or they're not. But it certainly would seem to be that most people have said that is something that's not going to happen.
Number 2, Putin wanted to carve up Ukraine, to turn it into a broken rump state. Again, things are headed that way. First, he annexed Crimea from Ukraine, that was in 2014, and now in the ongoing war, he's taken over much of eastern Ukraine. Around 20% of the country is occupied by Russia, and it looks like Trump will let Putin keep this territory.
Must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an
Yeah, like I said, it looked like to me they're all working together.
unrealistic objective. Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. A durable peace for Ukraine must include robust security guarantees to ensure that the war will not begin again.
And this will have long-term consequences. For example, will the European Union admit a broken Ukraine? Can a rump state grow financially? The answer to both these questions is no. So Putin is creating a weakened state at his border, a state he can meddle in, a state he can order around, and a state he won't have to fear. Number 3 is sanctions relief. There are more than 24,000 sanctions on Russia, 24,000. Out of this, more than 7,000 are by the United States. Putin will want those sanctions lifted, and Trump seems willing. Listen to what his Secretary of State said yesterday.
Sanctions relief going to be involved in any of this mobilizing or trying to more level set relationship between the U.S. and Russia before Russians bring up sanctions relief in the meeting today?
Well, sanctions are all the result of this conflict. There are sanctions that were imposed as a result of this conflict. And so I would say to you that in order to bring an end to any conflict, there has to be concessions made by all sides. We're not going to predetermine what those are.
This worried US allies in Europe. So Secretary Rubio got on the phone later. He said the sanctions would remain until a deal is struck, which is frankly expected. Putin will never agree to a deal without sanctions relief. So you've ticked 3 objectives. No NATO membership for Ukraine, check. Turn Ukraine into a broken state, check. Commitment to ease sanctions, check. It makes you wonder, has anything gone wrong for Putin? Well, one thing, yes. After his war, 2 countries joined NATO, 2 neutral countries. Finland joined in 2023 and Sweden joined in 2024. Finland shares a massive land border with Russia, and Sweden shares a maritime border. This was certainly a setback to Putin, but his broader goals in Ukraine are on the verge of being fulfilled. And do not think that this is luck. This is long-term strategic planning. Look at what he did with Europe. Europe was always dependent on Russian gas supplies, but Putin built on that. He turned it into leverage for Russia. At the time of invasion, 45% of Europe's gas came from Russia. This allowed them to expand his treasury. It also gave him clout in Europe, especially in countries like Hungary and Serbia. Knowing this, he invaded Crimea in 2014. Putin learned 2 lessons from that operation. 1, the West would only respond diplomatically, not militarily, meaning he would not send troops. And 2, he would have to protect sanctions. Putin built alternatives to Western services and goods, even symbolic ones like McDonald's. As a result, the impact of sanctions is limited. And it shows in the GDP numbers. Look at these numbers. Russia's economy grew by 3.6% in 2023 and a projected 4% in 2024. Compare this to G7 nations. Their combined average in 2024 was 1.7%. Russia may not have completely beaten the sanctions, but it did survive the worst. And a big reason for that is Putin's pivot to Asia. In the last decade, why is it?
Okay, any comments on that?
Yeah. Doesn't she work for the BBC?
This lady right here?
Yeah.
No, she worked for First Post. So
Okay. Because I used to listen to her too as well. A lot of these people are just a mouthpiece for the elite. Okay. I watch a lot of independent news networks, and they're totally contradictory. You never really hear these people speak on the fact of why Russia even attacked Ukraine. These are the same people on both sides. They live in peace with no problem. This whole thing started when they wanted to join NATO. And of course, they're right on Russian border. What happened when in the Cuba crisis, when Russia put missiles in Cuba? Right away, we told them they need to take that off. They can't do that because they're right on our border. Yet, when we did it to Russia, it was supposed to be all right. They were just supposed to take it. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to take a lot of what they're saying with a grain of salt. Move away from listening to a lot of this garbage, because then it fills your mind with stuff that's not even true. So I would just suggest maybe looking into some other independent news networks too as well, so you can balance what the real truth is. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Right, yeah. When you look at that, it's all a fiasco. With the Cuban crisis, that was a fiasco. It goes back to problem, reaction, solution. So what they using these people to lead you to a certain direction. That's the reason I'm dealing with it. So that if whatever they're doing, what they got them doing, you can find out what it is that we need to do. That's how that works. And then Creator already got a built mechanism into them that they got to tell us. The thing is we need to, are we listening? Okay. So with that being said, anybody else? Okay. Yeah. So this is right here was in the. This is in. This is need to know information, and it was in. It's in the book of First and Second Maccabees. I was telling you about. It's a lot of stuff that the major part of the deception to reason why we where we at today is the Old Testament stops. So-called Old Testament. It stops in the book of Malachi. That's the last book. And when you look at the timeline, when the book of Malachi was unfolded, and when it transpired, that's the second beast, according to the four beasts that Daniel dealt with. That Daniel gave us. That's the Medes and Persians. So, and when you go to Malachi, and the last, like I said, it's 4 chapters. The last chapter, that's the Medes and Persians. Then nobody, I don't know if anybody paid attention to it or not, but they got a so-called in between the scriptures or in between the testaments. They label the Old Testament, New Testament, and they have this area that they call in between the testaments. And then when you get to the New Testament, we in JC, they in Jerusalem, and the Jews in Jerusalem, they being persecuted by being the four beasts. So in between the scriptures, testaments, third beast. Daniel prophesied in the book of Daniel before the Old Testament closed out that it's 4 beasts gonna come. But when the Old Testament ends, then the second beast. When you start back in the when we come to Matthew, we're in 4 beasts. It skips over the third beast, and that right there in itself, if you say you educated or you searching the scriptures out, there's right there's a red flag. Credit don't work like that. The whole understanding of everything that happened in the New Testament, in the third beast, is gone. And when you understand that the third beast is Greece, that's Hellenization. That's where all the twisting and turning, that's where you get the New Testament come in at. You get the Septuagint. They translated the Old Testament from Hebrew to Greek. That's when all that happened. But none of that's in the scriptures. But the thing is, it's in the Second Maccabees. But you gotta know what you know what's going on. You gotta know what you're looking for when you go in there and understand what happened. Like I said before, in the third beast, we see in the Old Testament how the Israelites wielded that ark all around. That was their source of their power. It was the ark. When you get to the New Testament, ain't no ark. And I was talking about it in several videos, how that ark is in third beast. Antiochus came and raided the temple. That's not in our. Nobody had those scriptures, and nobody pretty much aware of it. But Antiochus came, just like Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed Jerusalem and tore down the temple. But notice they say nothing about the ark. You know, when Nebuchadnezzar came, but when there was time for them to leave, Babylon with Zerubbabel, he gave them all the gold and the cups and the vases and all that stuff, a lot of the stuff out of the temple that Nebuchadnezzar had took it with him when he came. Cyrus gave it to him to go back, but ain't no mention of no oil because they can't deal with the oil. So that's a whole nother story that got to come out. It's somewhere in the books, but it's going to come out, and then so you got to deal with that. And so where the ark at in the 70 AD. So like I said, these things just destroy the New Testament. But you know, it's for somebody that's created dealing with. He said he's going to pour his spirit out on us in the last days, and we're going to wake up on Israelites. So I said all that to say this. So in the second Maccabees, he talks about what happened with the ark. I'm gonna play some of that. What Jeremiah done with it. And it makes all the sense in the world.
More knowledge. The yesterday will increase in the last days. Here's some food about Jeremiah.
Welcome to the School of the Lost Tribes. It is also found in the records that Jeremy the prophet commanded them that were carried away to take of the fire, as it hath been signified, to ancient records that describe an important event in Judean history. According to these records, the prophet Jeremiah gave specific instructions to those who were.
This is the thing too. I'm plug this in there. That nobody seems to deal with is the fact that they talk about stealth bombers and all these different nuclear arsenals that the people got today. It's nothing compared to the ark. That's what's missing in our that's what's missing in our world as Israelites. So the ark got to come back.
Exiled from their homeland. Jeremiah, known for his wisdom and foresight, recognized the gravity of the situation as the people were forced to leave their land. He understood that in the chaos and distress of exile, there was a risk of losing important religious artifacts and forgetting sacred traditions. To prevent this, Jeremiah took action. He instructed the exiles to take the fire from the altar with them. This wasn't ordinary fire, but the sacred fire used in temple rituals. By preserving this fire, Jeremiah aimed to maintain the connection between the exiles and their religious practices, even in a foreign land. This verse sets the stage for a narrative about preserving religious identity and tradition in the face of adversity. It highlights the importance of maintaining cultural and spiritual links during times of upheaval and displacement. Take up the fire. This phrase likely refers to preserving the sacred fire from the altar of the temple. Historically, this sacred fire was kept burning continuously at the altar of Jerusalem, Leviticus 6:12-13. When the Babylonians destroyed the temple, the priests would have attempted to preserve the holy fire, a connection to Israel's past. This act of preserving fire recalls the time of the wilderness tabernacle, where the fire on the altar was never to be extinguished. And how that the prophet, having given them the law, charged them not to forget the commandments of the Lord, and that they should not err in their minds when they see images of silver and gold with their ornaments. Jeremiah's instructions to the exiles. This verse reveals more specific details about what the prophet told the people to do as they were being forced from their homeland. According to the records, Jeremiah gave the exiles the law. This wasn't just any law, but likely refers to the Torah, the most sacred text in Judaism. By entrusting them with the law, Jeremiah ensured that the exiles would have guidance and a moral compass in their new, unfamiliar surroundings.
So look how far we are. We go back to during the time of these prophets, and the temple was in existence. They had a certain place called the Holy of Holies where they kept the ark. Well, all these men we know, these holy men, Levites, priests, kings, and all that, they had to be a certain type of way to go in the Holy of Holies. If they wasn't right, they went in the Holy of Holies, they died. They had to drag them out. They killed them. So now look at JC. He just superseded the all. Everybody focus on him. Anybody dealing with the all. Let that front light.
But Jeremiah's instructions went beyond just preserving the law. He also warned the exiles against a specific temptation they might face in their new lands. He commanded them not to forget the precepts of the Lord. In other words, he urged them to remain faithful to their religious teachings and practices, even when surrounded by different cultures and belief systems. Moreover, Jeremiah cautioned them about the allure of foreign idols. He knew that in their new environment, the exiles would encounter various forms of idol worship. He warned them not to be led astray by the sight of gold and silver statues. These idols, despite their shiny and attractive appearance, were not to be worshipped or even admired. This verse underscores the prophet's efforts to preserve not just the physical artifacts of Judean faith, but also its spiritual essence and moral teachings in the face of exile and potential cultural assimilation. And with other such speeches exhorted he them that the law should not depart from their hearts. Jeremiah's actions and instructions to the exiles. In this verse, we learn about another significant item that Jeremiah sought to protect during the exile. According to the records, Jeremiah, following divine guidance, commanded that the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant accompany him. The tabernacle was the portable sanctuary used by the Judeans during their wilderness wanderings, while the Ark of the Covenant was the sacred chest containing the tablets of the Ten Commandments. Jeremiah then took these holy objects to the mountain where Moses had once ascended and seen the inheritance of God. This likely refers to Mount Nebo, where tradition holds that Moses viewed the promised land before his death. Upon reaching this mountain, Jeremiah found a cave-like room. He carefully placed the tabernacle, the ark, and the altar of incense inside this natural chamber. After depositing these sacred items, he took steps to conceal the cave's entrance, effectively hiding these important religious artifacts. This action by Jeremiah demonstrates his commitment to preserving the most sacred elements of Judean worship during a time of crisis. By hiding these objects, he ensured that they would not be desecrated or destroyed by foreign powers, and perhaps hoped they could be recovered in the future when the people returned from exile.
So remember, this right here, when the time of Jeremiah, Nebuchadnezzar came. So Jeremiah did this right here before the Chaldeans came and took the Israelites into captivity in Babylon. So he had already told them, you're only going there for 70 years, you're coming back. So when Zerubbabel came back, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute, Daniel 9:25, that's when they came back, they had this all. But you don't hear nothing about it. And damn sure don't hear nothing about it when it comes to the New Testament and JC. All gone out the picture. So that was Jeremiah did with it, where he took it. When they came back from Babylon, Zerubbabel and them, they brought this ark back with them. They built the temple. The temple got a Holy of Holies. When Zerubbabel built his temple, so you have a Holy of Holies, that's where the ark had to be at. You don't hear no talk about none of that. Like I said, too focused on JC, the idol.
Exile.
said they came from Babylon, they brought the ark back. But then Daniel 9:26 says they came back, they're going to rebuild the temple. The streets going to be inhabited again with Israelites. And then the prince that's going to come, which is Antiochus Epiphanes. The prince that shall come. We got nothing to do with the New Testament. The prince that, or the Antichrist, and they talking about the New Testament. The prince that shall come was Antiochus. And then we read in First Maccabees what they done. They did the same thing Nebuchadnezzar and them done. They came, took all the furniture and all that out of the temple. But it ain't no, it ain't part of the situation, story that's going on with the New Testament and the JC. But Antiochus came and took all that furniture out. And then when you understand that, when you get to Herod and all of them, where the ark at? You ain't told nobody that Antiochus them came and did the same thing Nebuchadnezzar did, and stole all the furniture out of the temple, stripped everything just like Nebuchadnezzar did. Okay. So with that being said, anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Nobody. I have an observation. Okay.
Okay.
Going back to what we spoke about 70 AD when Rome sacked our country. If I remember correctly, my history is correct. 3 years later, Mount Vesuvius erupted and killed a bunch of them. I don't know if you remember that. That was like 3 years after the fact. I don't believe in numerology or anything like that, but there are clearly patterns of 3 in scripture. I don't know why that is. It's over and over and over, and it was like 3 years later that happened. Obviously with the culmination being of this new Roman Empire, which will receive the final judgment for what they did, what they continue to do right now.
Okay. So you under the assumption that there was Israelites in the land in 70 AD?
At 70 AD, when after they attacked 70 AD, it's like 3 years later, you had that volcano eruption. I don't think that was an accident, and it had to be with that number 3 years later, where the people were just wiped out instantly. As a matter of fact, if you look online, you could actually see them like statues there, right where they stood when it happened. So I just think that that was retribution, a partial retribution for what they did during that time. But the culmination will be at the end when they deal with this Roman Empire that we're dealing with now, that continue to harass and continue to try to enslave us.
Yeah. I think you ought to check out. I got a 2 videos, part 1 and 2 on Israel was not destroyed in 70 AD. You probably need to watch that. But anyway, I opened up for Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yeah, I was talking for a minute. I got the flu bug for a minute. I'm recuperated a lot. I'm good. But I think Friday and Saturday I'll be out of pocket, and then I'll be back on point. Hopefully Sunday for the Sunday class, advanced Bible study class. I'll be able to have tomorrow class and then the women's line on Thursday, but I'll be out of pocket Friday and so I can get situated. Okay, anybody else? Anybody ain't got any questions or comments?
No, sir.
Okay, everybody good?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna play this. Yeah, everything happening so fast. You want to look up. You're gonna be.
Set APR on these Sierra.
Yeah, check this out. I talk about this all the time.
York, once a symbol of prosperity and wealth, where Times Square is illuminated with bright lights and unimaginable luxurious living. But now, those streets are enveloped by a completely different reality. Sidewalks covered with tents of the homeless, stores shutting down en masse, becoming familiar sights of a ghost town. What happened? Sky-high housing prices, economic recession, or are there deeper reasons that few dare to mention? This is not just the story of New York, but a warning bell for the entire United States. And the truth might send shivers down your spine. Has the American dream completely disappeared? In today's documentary, we will reveal the shocking truth about the 10 largest cities in America turning into ghost towns due to the homelessness crisis. Watch until the end, because this truth might give you chills. New York, once the heartbeat of the world, a symbol of the American dream, but now it looks no different from a ghost town. When night falls, New York is no longer the city of skyscrapers shimmering with lights, but the city of thousands of homeless people lost amidst a magnificent yet cold metropolis. Can you believe it? The streets are eerily silent. This time, it's not because of COVID-19. Instead, the massive wave of immigration, the departure of the millionaire class, along with the housing shortage and economic recession, has turned many neighborhoods desolate. The shops are understaffed, customer numbers have plummeted, and vehicles are sparse, creating a stifling and unstable atmosphere. In Times Square, which should be the bustling heart of New York, the LED screens still shine brightly, and tourists still pose for photos. But right beneath those lights, a black man leans against the cold wall of a high-end fashion store. A cardboard sign with the scrawled words, "Once there was a dream, now just a meal." Just a few steps away, a group of young people clad in luxurious outfits stepped out of the upscale bar, discussing their upcoming European vacation. Two worlds, two destinies, coexist in one city, but never touch each other. In Midtown, businesses are closing one after another, not due to a lack of customers, but because their entrances have turned into makeshift sleeping spots for the homeless. The rows of park benches are no longer for strollers, but rather a resting place for those who have nothing left to lose. Stepping down to the subway station, you not only see hurried passengers, but also witness a more terrifying reality. Dozens of people curled up beside the ventilation ducts, trying to keep a bit of warmth to survive the night. And then, Central Park, once a symbol of romance and tranquility, now looks no different from a refugee camp in the heart of the city. Hundreds of makeshift tents set up under the tree canopies, where abandoned people with no way out, no tomorrow. Even more astonishing, 400,000 undocumented immigrants who were once an indispensable part of the city's economy have now also disappeared. A tourist from Colorado remarked, "I came to New York to enjoy the city that never sleeps, but it seems like it went to bed at 9:30 p.m. Is New York not only facing a homelessness crisis, but also the collapse of part of its economy, extreme social division, and an uncertain future? Los Angeles is a place where you can spot Hollywood stars stepping out of million-dollar supercars, successful entrepreneurs dining at luxurious restaurants, enjoying extravagant dishes that cost as much as a month's salary for an ordinary worker. But here, there are more than 75,000 people without a place to call home, turning old cars into shelters, park benches into refugees, and a meal costing a few dollars into a luxury. Is Los Angeles still the city of angels? Or is it gradually turning into a ghost town, where the American dream is fading into darkness? Like this video and join us in uncovering the truth behind the glamorous facade. Right in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row looks like a forgotten world. More than 4,000 people crowd together among the tattered tents hastily set up beside graffiti-stained walls. The sidewalks have no space left to walk, only cardboard sheets spread out on the road, faces gaunt from hunger, from cold, from being forgotten.
It's where all the food is. It's where all the resources are located. But Skidrow is a very nasty place.
During the day, they collect every empty can and carefully gather every morsel of food from the benefactors. At night, they curl up in old, tattered sleeping bags, trying to forget the hunger, the cold, and the indifferent glances of strangers passing by. The scene was no different from a slum right in the middle of the million-dollar city. Because of the homelessness situation right in front of the store. You won't believe what's happening in Philadelphia. The city once known as the City of Brotherly Love, a symbol of American history and culture. But today, an unprecedented crisis is engulfing the place, turning many areas into wastelands that no one could have imagined. The shocking footage captures a haunting scene. Exhausted people, sprawled on the streets, caught in the vortex of poverty and despair. Around them, makeshift camps sprang up like miniature cities, while garbage piled up, covering the sidewalks. If there is a place that most clearly reflects the decline of Philadelphia, it is Kensington, an area that was once bustling and vibrant, but has now become a hotspot for homelessness and crime. The streets that were once filled with laughter are now left with shadows of people wandering aimlessly, soulless, drifting through a harsh reality. This situation is not just an urban issue, but a real crisis. We need stronger solutions, especially in education, healthcare, and community recovery, to prevent this endless decline.
Okay. Any comment, feedback?
Unless somebody else is going to answer, I just want to add that in Arkansas, where I came from, the homeless problem is a made up one. They did it purposely because they wanted to control the flow of our people going into that state, but they didn't figure that it was going to hurt them. And so you have a lot of the middle class sleeping in their brand new cars at the mall and at Walmart. So it's backfiring on them. And they've already had several protests there because of it. But it's artificially stimulated on purpose to control the flow. That's what's going on there.
Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom. I don't know about many places, but they are, I think it's Louisiana, that or someplace in the Midwest, that they are placing a lot of camps up, saying that they're helping out the homeless people, and they're placing these houses in corrals, like cages around them, and they was trying to bring up a lot of, get money for other states to follow them for the homeless, placing them in little camps. I don't know if they are going to continue to do that, come towards the east uh, part of the um, United States, but they are putting up these little pump tents in little camps, and they're running them away from under the bridges and trying to make sure they be in one little place. They got this place in Florida called Tent Town, and it's really bad. They showed it on television. It's really bad. But far as New York, I haven't. I have a cousin up there. I haven't asked anything about that part, but I believe they're probably just showing the areas that not around Trump Tower or anywhere like that. Just probably areas that they are showing is not a big population of people that is in the 1% or in that percentage with money.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, so me looking at that. Okay, anybody else got anything? Yeah, so me looking at that, you go back to, you can see some people being attracted to the city, the big metropolitan cities like that. But where we at today, I don't see what attraction coming in at. And it takes me back to when Abe Eber he had Joktan and Peleg, right? And Joktan ended up over there with Nimrod at the Tower of Babel, and Peleg went the other direction. And then the same thing with Noah, with Abraham and Lot. Abraham went the opposite. He went away from Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot ended up in Sodom and Gomorrah. And then you go to the flood. You're dealing with, when you understand who our Creator is, he didn't allow Lamech, Noah's father, Methuselah, he didn't want them. They was righteous men. He didn't allow them to see that type of destruction. So I believe the same thing getting ready to happen now. This is a major sign. He's not gonna he's gonna take us away from here. We're not gonna. I don't see the righteous or the people that is awakened and with the spirit of the Most High on them to be caught up in this. Like I said, the signs are right here now. You can see what's going on in the city. Why would you want to be there? Like the man showing you 10 cities, how they went to the dogs, you know, and you looking at it transpire, but you steady staying there instead of getting away from it, getting out of it. And that's what I see with this situation. Creator is not going to allow that remnant to deal with whatever's going to happen to this place, because some terrible going to happen to it. So, but he's not going to leave us here to be caught up in it. So, same thing with, like I said, with the flood. He said that he took Noah. He took Lamech. He took Methuselah. He took all those men before the flood, brought them up. Before he brought the flood, he didn't want them to see the flood, the devastation of the flood. So when I see that, that's what I see. So okay, let me see. Anybody else got anything on that? Okay. So with that being said, I was going to go to. I was sitting thinking about this, and I said that I'm always talking about Daniel 9:25. So what I'm gonna do right here, this might help somebody. I don't know, but I'm gonna Daniel 9:25. I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna see if I can get some feedback on what everybody perceive is going on with that Daniel 9:25 as far as what they know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in Daniel 9:25, right? And I'm gonna read it. Okay. It says, I'll start at verse 24. It says, 70 weeks are determined. Gabriel was talking to Daniel. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city, that's Jerusalem, to finish the transgressions, to make an end of sin, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and the prophecy, and anoint the most holy. Right? And so then, verse 25, this is a prophecy that was given to our forefathers, not to us. They were given to them because they sinned against the Lord of hosts, and he's bringing Nebuchadnezzar. That's what this all about. It had nothing to do with us. It's for us to read it and break it down and deal with it and understand how they created work. But he's talking to our forefathers back then through Jeremiah. The angel Gabriel talking to Jeremiah. So he says, they in Babylon. They in Babylon. Jeremiah is, and he's coming to tell him. Daniel, and Gabriel's coming to tell him what's coming down the pipe. So verse Daniel 9:25 says, "Know therefore and understand." It's Gabriel talking to Daniel. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem. See that? And build Jerusalem until the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again and wall even in troublesome times. So right here, at the gate, the wall, you should know what the wall is, because that's what Nebuchadnezzar and them tore down when they came. So they in Babylon. So they got to go back. He said the wall gonna be rebuilt. So there's no way you can go from here to 70 AD. But anywhere in the New Testament with JC, he says 62 weeks, the streets shall be built again and the wall in troublesome times. But anyway, get some feedback on that. Anybody can give me what they take on what that is? On that Messiah, the Prince? What's your take on it? Because it might help somebody because they can break it down. Do everybody understand it?
Shalom. Before you talked about this and you mentioned Zerubbabel, excuse me, and we then went to First Maccabees with the covenant, and it
Right.
brought out the 4 beasts, and we talk about the 4 beasts in 26.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's so many angles that
yeah,
I can
it's
go
a
through.
lot. You were coming
So that's
from a
why.
lot because we even went in Ezra talking about this.
Right. That's where I'm going tonight.
First Ezra. Yes, sir.
Right. So I'm trying to get a foundation on for everybody because I know when I was I was raised Baptist, and when I came up in the Baptist church, the lowly preacher would always say that that's the Messiah, that's Jesus Christ. And it says the Messiah, the Prince, is Jesus Christ, right?
Right, and you pointed out to us that that was that was one of the beasts there, and again when you talked about Antiochus the first part of this year, we went back to that and talking about destroying the cities.
Right, yeah. So that's what I was saying. And when you're in Daniel 9:25,
Yes,
you
sir.
can't see what's going on in 26 because they're telling you in 25 that that's Jesus, the Messiah, the Prince in 25 is Jesus. But if you keep reading and you go to 26, it's gonna say, and after they rebuild the wall, they're gonna come back and rebuild the wall and the streets in troublesome times. Then 26 says, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. So this ain't Nebuchadnezzar. Whoever this prince is, he come after Nebuchadnezzar and destroy the Jerusalem, and
Yes,
he calls the abomination to make it desert.
yes, sir. And this is a good tip or to look at when it says Messiah be cut off. The Lord of hosts won't be cut off. He'll never be cut off. So how is
Right,
the Messiah going to be cut off? So that's the
exactly,
beast that's going to be cut off.
exactly, right. That's the prince, exactly. And then it's when after you get around the right people and get studying with the right people, you will see that and thinking like a Hebrew. 9:25 says, "Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince." See that? So the Messiah is a prince. You just can't deal with that word Messiah. The Messiah is a prince. Like I was telling you, Satan. That's a title. It's an angel. It's one of them angels. He got like as Aziel. He was a Satan, but he got a name. He a being. Satan is a title that's on him. He's an adversary. Melchizedek. He's the king of righteousness, but that's a title. Shem when Abraham came out, when Abraham come out to meet Melchizedek, he met Shem. That was the title that Shem had received because Noah had it when they got on the boat. But after they got off the boat and the land was separated and all that, Noah passed away. Shem was the next in line. So by the time Abraham comes to meet Melchizedek, Shem is Melchizedek. So it's the same thing right here.
Yes, sir. That's just like what you taught us about Nebuchadnezzar and Zerubbabel, and they're one after the other.
Exactly right. It's not no long period of time.
Yes,
All this
sir.
stuff all happening around. All this stuff is happening at the same time. They came. They sit up in their little chambers or wherever they was at in Alexandria, Egypt, and they chopped this all up and disassembly the same way they did. Chopped it all up. But yeah, once you get around the right people though, it's gonna get it's actually a disgrace. Once it trigger your mind, you see it. You know what I mean? You ain't no going back. And so let me get this.
Yes, sir. So in Ezra, were we in chapter 2? The
No, I'm gonna
returning of
start it.
You gonna start at 1?
No, I'm gonna start at let me get it. 3. Chapter 3. Yeah, chapter 3, verse 8, I think it is. So notice we in Daniel. That's what a lot of people don't pay no attention to. You know, the Negro they don't want to get it. You don't see this that these people from 2,500 years ago they got you going backwards. So you just talked. Gabriel just came to Daniel in the book of Daniel now to find out you got to go back to Ezra. But this prophecy is supposed to be 500 years later. It's Messiah. That's what JC came 500 years later after what happened in Daniel 9:25. What happened in Jerusalem with Daniel he's supposed to came 500 years later, but we going backwards, right? We're going back about 5 books. Anyway, we in chapter 3. So starting at verse, remember what we just read. It said that 9:25, and the street's gonna be built again, and the wall, right, in the temple. All that's going to be rebuilt again. And like I said, Nebuchadnezzar the one tore it down. And they was told they was going to be gone. Let's look at that right quick before I start reading this. So like I said, who you going to deal with, the angel, or you going to deal with these Europeans that wrote this New Testament? So you go to the book of Daniel. Okay. Let me get it.
You going to Daniel 3, sir?
No, hold that. Ezra 3 and 8. I got to go back and read this. And then Daniel, this the whole reason that Gabriel came to Daniel. What I'm getting ready to read. This is what triggered the whole thing. Gabriel, Daniel said, and you're gonna see all this in a minute when I start reading it. So I'm in chapter 9, and it says, Daniel already know that Jeremiah told him, Nebuchadnezzar coming, and he's gonna take that, it's a good fig and a bad fig. Jeremiah 24. It's a good fig and a bad fig. The good fig, he left the land of Israel to destroy them. But the good fig, he took to Babylon. He called Nebuchadnezzar to take the good fig to Babylon. So he told them they're going to go to Babylon for 70 years. So in Daniel 9, verse 1, in the first year of Darius, So it's 69 years. It's almost, it's right at 70 years. That's why Daniel praying. In the first year of Darius, son of Artaxerxes, okay, Darius, the son of Artaxerxes of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood, same thing we doing, understood by books, the number of years wherefore the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet. And he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. So how you gonna get JC out of that? But they're only going to go to 70 years, go to Babylon for 70 years. And Daniel decided to pray right here, 3. And I set my face unto the Lord God, our Redeemer, to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. So you can read that prayer. So Daniel set his face, he fasted, and then he asked the Lord about what was going on. And that's when he came, St. Gabriel. That's when Gabriel came to him. That's where you get Daniel 9:25 from. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, that's what Daniel trying to find out. That's what he fasted and prayed. So he's telling them right here. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince. See that? Like I said, Messiah the Prince. So this Messiah is a prince, which you're going to find out is a prince out of Judah. So Messiah the Prince shall be 70 weeks, 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall that Nebuchadnezzar tore down, even in troublesome times. So that's what Gabriel came and told him. So you can believe Paul or Luke and all them if you want. Gabriel just told him 70 years is up, and the Messiah and the wall and the commandment all right here. Ain't no in the future. Ain't no New Testament. So we'll deal with the commandment first. Then I'm gonna start reading out of the So you go, Gabriel, like I said, Gabriel told him this way back here, but we got to go all the way back here to find the truth. And it's in Ezra chapter 1, the commandment, out the gate, chapter 1 of Ezra. Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, see that same thing we just read, mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The spirit of Cyrus, spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation, that commandment. See that? That he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it in writing. Thus said Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, our Redeemer, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth and have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. So there go the commandment. The Lord of hosts charged Cyrus to build his house in Jerusalem. And so he told him, let my people go so they can go back and build the temple. That's what Cyrus did. So there go the commandment. Right there. And then if you keep going, he said the prince. Then he says, verse 5, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin and the priest. We had a long conversation the other day about these priests. They ain't no everyday men. You know, they didn't denigrate them. And we going along with the program. But anyway, it says, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin and the priests and the Levites with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the Lord, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. See? It's all synchronized, right? What Gabriel told him. 6, and they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with vessels of gold, beasts, precious things, besides that was willingly offered. Also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels. See that? Also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar, not in the future, You know, 500 years later with JC, he says, and Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar brought forth out of Jerusalem, and he put them in the house of his gods. Even those that Cyrus, king of Persia, bring forth, here go the prince, that bring forth by the hand of Mithra, the treasurer, numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. See that? So that's why I was telling you. Gabriel told him unto the Messiah, the prince. So the Messiah is a prince that's in the captivity. And he tell him right here. And so they trying to trick you off right here, but it says, even those that Cyrus, this verse 8, Ezra 1 and 8, even those that Cyrus, king of Persia, bring forth by the hands of Mithra, the treasurer, and numbered them to Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. Right? So we go to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel right quick. I just want to show you this. It should, you know, auto click. But I'm in Daniel right quick. Hold that page. Says this Daniel chapter 1, dealing with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It says, I started at verse 1. In the third year of the reign of Joachim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and he besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, unto his hands, and part of the vessel of the house of the Lord, which he carried unto the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and he brought the vessels of the, we just read that, into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Appanage, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring, check it out, he should bring certain children of Israel and the king's seed. See that? The king's seed, David's seed. Lord Oath is watching over David's seed. You're always going to have a king out of David's lineage. And that's the most high, that's the Lord of hosts' responsibility. This is the prince they're talking about in Daniel 9:25. The king's seed, David's seed, right? So it says, and the king spake unto Appanage, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring a certain of the children of Israel, of the king's seed. See that? Of the house of David, or the prince, or the princess. They are the princes. Children in whom there is no blemish, but well favored, skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had the ability in them to stand before the king's palace, and in whom might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them daily provisions of the king's meat and the wine which he drank. So he nourishing them 3 years, that they could, that at the end of at the end thereof they could stand before the king. Among them, here we go. Among were the children of Judah. See that? Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom, here you go, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. See that? For he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar. See that? So they, like they did over here with us. So they gave Daniel Belteshazzar. So when you go back over here, back in Ezra, chapter 1, verse 8, even those did Cyrus, king of Persia, bring forth at the hand of Mithra, the treasurer, and numbered them to Sheshbazzar. See, prince. That's a prince out of Judah, out of David lineage. They didn't rename him. He got a Chaldean name. Don't sound like Jesus to me, but he got a Chaldean name right there. Prince of Judah. See, they got a Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah. This is the prince we're looking for in Daniel 9:25. We just got to figure out what his Hebrew name is. They done gave him a captive name, Sheshbazzar. Okay, anybody got a question so far? No question?
No, sir. I'm following you.
Okay, so when you see that, then you got to go to, you see that who this Sheshbazzar is, then you go to Zechariah. Then we'll start reading. So Zechariah, right quick. Okay. Zechariah chapter 3, chapter 4, right? So it says all this stuff happened at the same time in these books. It's not no long period of time. All these men existed at around the same time during the captivity of Babylon, years apart. But anyway, it says chapter 4. This is Zechariah talking to the angel, right? It says my thing, our chapter. Let me get it. Come on. So the angel talked with me and came again and waked me as a man awakened out of his sleep. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I have asked a stick of gold, and a bowl upon the top of it, 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes upon the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof, and 2 olive trees by it, and on the right side of the bowl, and the other on top of the left side thereof. So I answered and I spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, like I said, these angels, who you gonna deal with? Matthew, Mark, all these angels. So I answered and I spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, what are these, my Lord? So I just explained to you about the ark. That's what this is, the Holy of Holies. The ark is in the Holy of Holies. 2 men got to go in there once a year for Israel's sin. The high priest and the king got to go in the Holy of Holies. That's what he's asking them. Verse 5, then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, know thou what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word, check it out. This is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, said the Lord of hosts. Who art thou? Here you go. They in Babylon. Like I said, they was in Egypt. They ain't know how the hell they was gonna get out of Egypt. Like we over here now. We latched on to the prophecy that we supposed to leave, but we don't know how the hell we gonna get out of here. This captivity been horrendous. The one in Egypt was horrendous. The one in Babylon was horrendous. They ain't know how they was gonna get out of it. So verse 7 says, who art thou, O great mountain? It's the captivity that they in. Who art thou, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? Right? Thou shalt become a plain. I mean, you're going to bring it down. Like he's going to do this place. What we just looking at. He says, who art thou, O great mountain, before Zerubbabel? Thou shalt become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone. Here you go. He shall bring forth the headstone thereof with shouting, grace, grace unto grace. So what's the headstone? We're going to rebuild the temple. And this Zerubbabel right here, he's the one going to have the headstone. Set the corner of the temple to build the foundation of the house when they go back from when they leave Babylon and rebuild the temple. Daniel 9:25, streets shall be built again and a wall, right? So 8, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, the hands, you got to remember this right here. I'm just reading, I'm just showing it to you. It says, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of the house. This is the house in Daniel 9:25. This is Zerubbabel, right? Have laid the foundation of the house, and the hand in his hands. See that? Not Jesus. The hands of Jesus have laid the foundation of this house, and his hands shall also finish it. And it shall, and thou shalt know. When you know this, thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts, our Redeemer, see that, sent me unto you. That's what the angel told me. When you see this, you're gonna know I'm going did it. For whoever despises the day of small things, for they shall see. See that? Just like us. They shall see the plummet in the hands of Jerubbaal with those seven angels. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro in the whole earth. Now let's go to. He said Zerubbabel is gonna bring the headstone. He's gonna be the one to see when the Babylonian Empire get plummeted, and then Zerubbabel gonna bring back the headstone, and Zerubbabel gonna lay the foundation of the house. That's the same prince that's in Daniel 9:25. But I want to show you what they done. So go to Ezra, where I was there. Go to Ezra. Now we'll start reading. It says, now, I'm in Ezra chapter 3, verse 8. It says, now, in the second year of their coming unto the house of God at Jerusalem. So they didn't fulfill Daniel 9:25. At Jerusalem, in the second month, begins Zerubbabel. See this? Remember what I just read? Begins Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, son of Joshua, son of Jezozak, and the remnant of their brethren of the priests and the Levites, and all they that were come out of the captivity. That's the great mountain. He brought it down, was Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years and upward to set forward, look at this, to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. Then stood Joshua with his sons and his brethren. This is Joshua is out of Aaron's lineage. I told you it's two men, two anointed ones. Then stood Joshua with his sons and his brethren, Kimdale and the sons of Judah together, and they set forward the work of the house of the Lord. The sons of Hadad with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. And when the builders had, check it out, remember what we just read in Zechariah, when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set priests in their apparel with trumpets. And the Levites, the sons of Asaph, see that? That's the Asaph in Psalms, right? The Levites, the sons of Asaph, with their cymbals to praise the Lord after the ordinance, look at this, after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. And they sang together at courses, praising and giving thanks unto the Lord because he is good, for his mercy endured forever toward Israel. And all the people shouted with great shout, and when they praised the Lord, because of the foundation of the house was laid. See that? So remember what he said. Zerubbabel gonna lay the he said Zerubbabel gonna lay the foundation of the house. And he not only is he gonna lay it, he gonna finish it. Then 12. Well, many of the priests and the Levites and the chief fathers who were ancient men that had seen the first house, the one Solomon built, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice, and many shouted aloud for joy, so that the people could not discern the noise of the shouts of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people. For the people's shouts shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard afar off. So that was we have chapter 4. Anybody got comments so far? Okay. So our answer is gonna be right here in answer gonna be right here in chapter 4 of Ezra. Says it. So the adversaries seek to stop the work. What it tells you in Daniel 9:25, this prince gonna be cut off. Huh? He's gonna come back, but he's gonna get cut off. So here it is right here. You get cut off right here. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity uh, builded the temple of the Lord, God of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel and to the chiefs of the fathers, and they said unto them, let us build with you, for you seek God. We seek your God as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Eshkron, the king of Assur, which brought us up here. So you got to understand that too. So it's like I said, this company, they came right here and did what they did right here because there's so much going on, complicated. Right here, what he's talking about is the whole 10 tribes was to Assyria. They brought in 10 different nations and put them in the different places of the king of Assyria. Let's look at that right quick. I mean, I got time. Let me show you. So you got to understand this. So this is Samaria. So that's where all the drama coming from with Samaria is they not Israelites. So it says 2 King. And you just gonna read over this, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So right here it says, okay, I mean 2 Kings, 2 Kings verse 22. So this one, the 10 tribes had angered the Lord of hosts, and he got rid of the 10 tribes. He sent them to Assyria. So we're gonna pick it up in we're gonna pick it up in 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 22. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and they departed not from them. Now here you go. 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by the servants of the prophets, right? So was Israel carried away out of their own land into Assyria unto this day. Now here you go. 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Kerkuk to Ava, and from Seraphim, and placed them, see that, in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and they dwelt in the cities. So this is where the wickedness coming from. Nobody, most people read right over this. But he brought 10 different nations in there that's not Israelites. And that's wicked. Verse 25. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, they feared not the Lord, the Lord. Therefore, the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nation which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of that land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thee one of the priests whom thou brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of the God of Israel. So that's what we're dealing with now. We got all these nut buckets that was proselytes. Now they claiming to be Israelites. See, and so that's where all the drama coming from with these Samaritans. They was when the king of Assyria brought them there, introduced them to our culture. And they became Ethiopia, one of them. And that's what we're looking at now. All these so-called regathering of these Jews. Oh, they was proselytes. They're not Israelites. And that's why when the Most High working now, pouring the Spirit out, it ain't falling on them because they ain't no Israelites. So let's go back where I was at. So that's what he's talking about when he says, when the king of Syria came and and took those people. Okay, but let me get over here. So it says, verse 9. They wrote, 7. And the days of Eshkron wrote blasphemy See, these Samaritans right here, they don't want the Israelites back. They back. He didn't brought them back, but they don't want them back. So he says, in the days of Ashkenaz wrote, I can't pronounce his name, Bethlehem, Mirdal, Timal, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and the writing of the letter was written in the Syrian language, and they interpreted in the Syrian tongue. And Rehoboam, the chamberlain, the system the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem. That these are wicked people. They in the land, and they don't want to give up that. They don't want to give up the culture that they have. They didn't receive. Okay. Thus wrote Rehoboam the chancellor, and Shizan the scribe, and the rest of their companions, and Dedite, and what can keep on 10, and the rest of this nations whom the great noble Akhenaten brought over and set in the cities of Samaria, and the rest that were on the other side of the river at the same time. That is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king, thy servant, the men on the side of the river, and such as time. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which have come up, here you go, come up from thee to us, are come unto Jerusalem, building, see that, this day 925, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls. They go the walls. See that? 925. The walls thereof, and join the foundation. Be it known unto the king that this city is builded and the walls set up again. Then will they not pay toll, tribute, or custom, so they must so thou shalt endanger the revenue of the king. Now, because of his maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not met for, okay, hard to see, for this not met for us to see the king's dishonor. Therefore have we sent and certified to the king that a search be made in the books of the records of thy father Cyrus, right? So that thou shalt find the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city and a hurtful unto the king and the providences, and that they have moved sedition within the same of old times, for which came this city, which caused this city to be destroyed. We certify the king that if this city is built again, and the wall, see that? It keeps saying the wall, right? And the walls thereof set up, by this means thou shalt have no portion on this side of the river. Now here you go. You see the prince in Daniel 9:25 gonna be cut off. Here you go right here. 17. Then sent the king and the answer unto Rehoboam the chancellor, and unto Shebag the scribe, and unto the rest of the companions that dwelt in Samaria, they wicked as hell, and unto the rest beyond the river, peace, and at such time. And the letter which ye sent unto us have been plainly read before me. And I command, here you go, the other commandment. I command, and a search have been made, and it is found that this city of old times have made insurrections against the king, and that rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over the countries before beyond the river, and the toll, tribute, and custom was paid unto them. Give ye now, here you go, give ye now a commandment to cause these men to cease. Stop, right here, right? Give ye now a commandment to cause these men to cease, that this city be not builded until another commandment shall be given from it, right? Take heed now that ye fail not to do this. Why should damage, why should damage grow to the hurt of the king? Now, when the copy of the king's Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehoboam, Shema, the scribe, and their companions. They went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews and made them cease by force and power. Then ceased the work. Here you go. It was cut off. Messiah was cut off. Then ceased the work of the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. So it caused, so it ceased. Here you go. It ceased until the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Now here we go. I'll show you who the prince of in day 925 in the Messiah. Verse 5. The temple got cut off right here. Zerubbabel got cut off. Chapter 5. Then the prophet Haggai and the prophet Zechariah, the sons of Edu, prophesied unto the Jews that were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, even unto them. Then rose up Zerubbabel, the son of Shethar, and Joshua, the son of Jozadak, and began to build the house of God, which is Jerusalem, which okay, let me see, I can't see. With them were the prophets of God helping them. At the same time came them Tima, the governor of this side of the river, and Sheba, their companion, and said unto them, who have commanded you to build the house and to make up the wall? Then said we unto them, this manner, what are the names of the men that make this building? But the eyes of their God was upon the elders of the Jews. They could not cause them to cease till the matter came to Darius, and then they returned the answer by letter concerning the matter. Excuse me. The copy of the letter that Tenach, governor on this side of the river, and Bishnak and companions, I can't say these names, Araflat, which was on this side of the river, sent to Darius the king, and they sent letters unto him, wherewith was written thus unto Darius the king, all peace. Be it known unto the king that we are sent unto the province, to the house of the great God, which is built with great stone, and timber is laid in the wall, and this work goeth fast on, and prospereth in their hands. Then asked we the elders, and said unto them thus, who commanded you to build this house and to make up the walls? And we asked their names also, and certified them, that we might write the names of these men that were the chiefs of them. And thus they returned us an answer, saying, we are the servants of God of heaven and earth, and builded the house that was built these many years ago, with a great king of Israel building. But after that, our fathers had provoked the God of heaven unto wrath, and he gave him into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, the Chaldeans, who destroyed this house and carried people away into Babylon. Now here we go. But in the first year of Cyrus, king of Babylon, the same king Cyrus made a decree, commandment, to build this house, and the vessels of here you go, right here, what I just read in verse 1, chapter 1. It says, and the vessels of gold and silver of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem, and brought them into the temple in Babylon, those did Cyrus, king of Persia, take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto, here you go, they were delivered unto one whose name is Sheshbazzar, who was made governor, a king, right? And said unto him, take these vessels. See that? He told Sheshbazzar this. He said unto him, take these vessels, go carry them into the temple that is in Jerusalem. Sheshbazzar. right? Take this to the temple that's in Jerusalem and let the house of God be built in its place. Key go. This is what you got to understand. I told you to understand about Zechariah 3. He said Zerubbabel was going to build a house. And he was going to lay the foundation. He's going to bring the cornerstone and all that, right? 15. Then came the same Sheshbazzar and laid the foundation for the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. And since that time, even until now, have it been in building, and yet it is not fulfilled. So Sheshbazzar and Zerubbabel, the same person. 17. Now, therefore, if it seem good to the king, let there be a search made in the king's treasure house, which is there in Babylon, where it may be said that a decree was made of Cyrus of the king to build the house of God in Jerusalem. So that's my point right there. So when you see, and they all look all that we had to cover to rightly divide that.
Shalom. Yes, sir, because there's a lot of name changing
Right.
and actually clarifying who is a Messiah and the Prince
Right.
at the same
Exactly.
time.
Right.
Also, when it was the commandment that Israel build the temple and not all of these other tribes that they tried to bring in to
Right.
build it. That's why it never got built like it was supposed to be built, because it hadn't had the last commandment to be built by the Lord of hosts.
Exactly. Right. And then it's so much at play. That's why I say every time you go into a certain topic, it's best to get all you can out of that topic, because it's gonna be needed later on when you get into another story. For example, like I said, who knows that they took those 10 tribes out of Israel and put other people there? I mean, you can read it, but it's insignificant to you, because you don't see what did happen. So that's like I said, today, right now in 2025, that's our problem. Now that we waking up, you got all these nut buckets that saying they Israelites, because at one time or another they was in the land of Israel, posing like Israelites. Israel went in, got scattered like out of their land about 13 times. Like I said, when one of those nations of people that was brought into the land in Second Kings was Ethiopia.
Yes, sir. And when you see they try to take the gold, the gold and the silver every
Right.
time and steal the ark and move it here and move it there, things happen to them, and they can't build it because it's not supposed to be built by them, and not now. So not then when they tried to do it, and not now when they're trying to do it now as well.
Right. And like I said, you got two major events that's when you talk about and it's not about nothing else, it's about an Israelite that have woken up and trying to find the truth. Not no nut bucket, but somebody that have woken up with the Spirit of Most High on them and they searching. So you got two major events happening right there. You got the Israelites came in. I mean, the Israelites was ran out of the land of Israel by Antioch Epiphanes, not in 70 AD, because in Daniel 9:25 and Daniel 9:26, he says, after all that I just read that they went through, then a prince came after that, because they started back sinning again, and a prince came, and the abomination that make it deadly came. That was Antiochus, not nobody coming in the future. So all those two major events that happened right there they got a ton of slap on top of it. Everybody reading all over it.
Shalom.
So right after,
I wanted to. Yes, sir. I wanted to see if this was a point as well. So once they took the land again, and they came in trying to be that king, that prince, that Lord of hosts, and build that temple to get those Israelites to even though they took their land, to come back, because they know the Israelites were the chosen people. So again, they brought all those mixtures in there, because everybody knew that the Israelites will be the one to be saved. So they try to mingle in there and be a part of that.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. But yeah, at that moment,
At
like
that
I said,
moment.
that the true Israelites would not allow them to be participate. He
Yes, sir.
told him, Zerubbabel told him, you don't have nothing to do with this. See what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And so they rebuilt the temple and all that, but it didn't last long, because they right back to doing what they was doing before. And that's when Daniel 9:26 come into play. The prince that shall come, which is Antiochus, he destroyed the nation of Israel for good.
Hmm.
But they got you thinking that those are Israelites in the land in 70 AD. But when Antiochus came, he ran them out. That's how they ended up in Africa. So that whole scenario over the New Testament with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, them Edomites. There ain't no Israelites. So when Antiochus came and did what he did, Esau came in and stole the land. So then when you pick it up with what they're trying to give you in the New Testament, those are Edomites that came into the land, posing as Israelites. Like I said, where the ark at? Ain't no ark.
Right.
Yeah.
And every time they tried to take it or do something, the repercussion of the Lord of hosts always came back on them with a
Right.
plague, or
Right.
destroyed them, or ate them by the lions, or brought them
Right.
down, took their king away, everything. And because they tainted these things that were holy and put them in Babylon, and then thought they could just make it, get the Lord of hosts there with those things, and those things weren't never going to bring them, because they were in Babylon, and
Right.
they had tainted those things.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of the Septuagint. They
Yes, sir.
wanted to get our records out of Hebrew, because they wanted to be able to understand it, and then they wanted to decipher it. And that's what happened when in Alexandria, Egypt.
And
They
to
translated
decipher it,
it.
to get the people to follow them and to their
Right,
prince, to
exactly.
their
And
God, because they
encrypted
keep
it.
saying to their
Right,
God.
right. They changed it. They
Yes, sir.
changed everything, but they first had to put it in Greek. And after they did that, that's when you get the New Testament. The Greek New Testament, because it never was written in Hebrew. You got these nut buckets going to try to make you think it was written in Hebrew, but it can't. It's conception and everything was after they got hold of our records, the Tanakh, and they translated out the Tanakh into Greek. Then from there, that's when you get all these offshoot books that you got that they canonize. After they start plagiarizing our book, after they got the Septuagint. And like I said before, it's not it ain't for faint of heart. Most High said he's gonna pour his spirit out on us in the last days. Those are the people that's gonna deal with the truth. They ain't going halfway down the road and then stop. It ain't working. That ain't gonna work. Look at all the hell we done caught. 3,000 years. You got to swallow the whole load. You have to swallow it. You can't just get half of it. In order to get the truth and the understanding out of it, you gotta take the whole thing in. Like he told Ezekiel, well, it's gonna go down in your belly, it's sweet like honey. But you gotta be able to swallow it whole. You got all these little bits and pieces over here. People that went halfway down the road and then got beside themselves and stopped. Like I said, you see so many people have this and have that, but they still dealing with JC. They can't fathom the JC idol. Okay.
Shalom. And you say it all so well, sir. And when you try to connect the dots like this, if you look at the Romans and the Greek, it's just out of order all to begin with. When
Right.
you think of the Lord of hosts, because they went against him in every way,
Exactly.
to change things and be mighty,
Right.
and gather the people and make the people fight against each other.
Exactly.
So that in itself is knocked off. And when you try to look at the Greeks and all of them today, and you look at the heritage of all of the bestiality and all of
Right.
the
Exactly.
sexuality that they came, that from those Nephilims and all of that,
Right.
that still is prevailing, and is prevailing visibly now in the 20th century as
Right.
it started to come out. And when you see these big Gothic churches like they have, that are the Greek um places and stuff, they're still looking at power of a man.
Exactly. Right. Right. Yeah, because that's what they do. They worship.
Yes, sir.
They worship those giants and all that. All that's still going on,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see those Nephilim DNA all over the place. So
Yes, sir.
they brainwashed. We've been brainwashed. Once your eyes open, you run and hide in the bathroom. You start seeing some of the stuff that you just ain't paying no attention to. Yeah. So yeah, that's right there. I mean, something as simple as that. Like I said, when you say, I mean, Zerubbabel, it's got to be ordained from the Creator. So who could possibly find that and break it down? That's the crazy part. Got to be the Creator. But there's something. Anybody else got any comments or anything before we go? Like I said, I'll be out of pocket on Friday and Saturday. Still trying to deal with this, but I'm gonna try to do an hour or so tomorrow, and then do something for the women's, and then come back Sunday evening, and then I'll try to get back online, back on track. Okay.
Shalom.
Everybody. Yeah.
Sure. I just want to say, thank you, and you get your health back up to par. And this is connected a lot of dots and a lot of study again, to go back and look at these Zerubbabels and princes and messiahs. Really, like you say, you got to study this, and you got to distinguish which is which. And it's not going to come from one book. It's going to come
No.
from many books, because of these eras, like the 70 AD and maybe 400
Right.
BC and all of that. You have to connect those dots. And then again, you've always sort of get the meat, throw away the bones, because there are a lot of bones here within the scripture to throw you off.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it helps. Once you understand that, you start those other books that they tell you not to deal with, those books, it opens you up to those books, because those books talk about stuff they hid from you.
Yes, sir. You can pick those bones out, because they give you more
Right.
of the story, rather than
Right.
just what they want you to know. Like, trust your
Exactly.
government,
Right.
obey this. Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Love JC.
Yes, sir. That's what they
Right.
say.
Anybody else got anything before we go?
Shalom.
Okay.
Hi, it's Shamika. I just want to ask a quick question. Is the Ethiopian Bible a good Bible to study from?
Yeah. Actually, the Open Bible it's like you got the King James. And then at one time, the 1611 Bible had the Apocrypha in it. You know what the Apocrypha is, right?
Yes.
So the Ethiopian Bible got all the books in the King James, and the Apocrypha, and it's got Enoch and Jubilees in it. So it's all together, you know. Yeah, it's all together. You just got the same thing, but you just got them separated. But the Ethiopian Bible got them all in one book.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what that is. Anybody else got anything? Okay, I see y'all
Yeah.
tomorrow. We'll be reading. Somebody got something?
Yeah, I was just saying, you were saying that Ethiopians, they're not Israelites. I just want to make a comment on that. I have in my possession the DNA that matches our DNA from around the world. And I checked Ethiopia because they kept talking about Ethiopia being part. I just want to say there was very small amount of our people there. So no, they're really not. There's very few people that are, but most of them are not.
Exactly, and then that's I said. That's what our struggle is. The same thing we just saw happen to the Israelites, and they came back. Those Samaritans didn't want them back because they want to wear that title. And now that we waking up, everybody is against us. Like Psalms 83 said, don't nobody want us to wake up to who we are. Okay, so that's what we up against.
And we've been scattered across the four corners of the earth, so we are everywhere.
Exactly. Oh yeah. So everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll be reading through the Tanakh. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.